We are simple and we are complex. We can be silent and we can be loud. We may not always know the answers. We may not always make the perfect decision, but we always have each other. There's no one else I'd rather share my life with than you. Happy Valentine's Day. Shit. How you do it, twin?
Okay. So that's it, y'all. Y'all kept asking. Y'all want to see.
That's how you get it off the bone. Straight up.
Okay. And I'm actually like really happy, y'all, but I can't really show it because I'm a person like I can be really happy inside, but I don't know how to show my emotions. But the Lord knows when I go home, Bun finna be tired of me. So I'm gonna call y'all back.
This is Maurice Harrison, aka Girl La La.
I'm real Girl La La. What happened?
The TikToker had hundreds of thousands of followers on the platform. Her family telling Local 10 she was always smiling. But on Friday, her life was cut short. Broward Sheriff's deputies say the 21-year-old was shot and killed inside a car by her boyfriend, lled White Jr., during an argument. He was in bond court on Sunday.
In the early hours of November 14th, 2025, a quiet street in Lauderdale Lakes became the center of a case that spread across social media within minutes. A 21-year-old TikTok creator known as Maurice Harrison was found with multiple gunshot wounds inside the passenger seat of a parked vehicle. The discovery followed a distressed 911 call placed by her long-term boyfriend, 25-year-old lled White Jr., who claimed he needed help. When deputies arrived, they located Maurice unresponsive, the interior of the car disrupted, and evidence suggesting a rapid escalation of conflict. 2 9mm shell casings and a firearm were recovered near the scene, immediately shifting the situation from a medical emergency to a criminal investigation. Authorities quickly learned that this incident did not involve strangers or a random encounter. It originated from inside a relationship that had lasted several years and had been visible in fragments across Maurice's online presence. Viewers had seen moments of calm and moments of tension, but none of those brief interactions hinted at the ending that would unfold inside the confined space of a parked car that night. As investigators worked to reconstruct the timeline, they focused on the dispute that reportedly began as a verbal argument and progressed into a physical confrontation. They examined the 911 audio, assessed the trajectory of the gunfire, and reviewed the behavior of the only living witness, White Jr., whose statements and actions would become central to the case. How does a long-term relationship reach a point where an argument leads to irreversible consequences? What indicators, if any, appeared before the final confrontation? And when all that remains is evidence, audio, and a single survivor, how close can the truth be reconstructed? This is the story behind the death of Maurice Harrison. You're watching Crimelens Uncovered, where the spotlight of social media casts the darkest shadows. From TikTok phenoms and Instagram couples to Facebook influencers, we peel back the filters to reveal the crimes behind the fame. When the chase for followers turns deadly, we follow the trail to uncover the truth. These aren't just viral clips, they're stories of obsession, betrayal, and lives cut short. Subscribe if you want the unfiltered truth behind the trending hashtags, because by the time a story explodes online, the tragedy has already happened. Now let's dive in. Maurice Harrison was a 21-year-old digital creator whose rise on social media came from consistent content production, a recognizable personal style, and a clear understanding of what appealed to viewers within the beauty and transformation niche. She built her platform primarily on TikTok, where she became known for wig installations, styling demonstrations, and short-form makeover clips that highlighted her ability to transform different looks using bold colors, precise technique, and rapid visual transitions. These videos allowed her content to circulate widely, and as the algorithm promoted her posts, her following grew into the hundreds of thousands, establishing her as a recognizable figure in the online beauty community. Her digital identity was centered around creativity and presentation, with her username Girlalala becoming associated with bright wigs, fast-paced tutorials, and a consistent posting pattern that made her easy to distinguish among the large number of creators producing similar content. She used her hairstyling skills to create wigs for clients, and this offline work often aligned with the looks she showcased on her social media pages. The combination of professional experience and online performance made her videos accessible to both viewers seeking entertainment and those looking for practical styling ideas. Maurice regularly engaged with her audience through comment replies, live streams, and direct demonstrations, showing the process behind her transformations. These real-time interactions contributed to her growing visibility and increased her reach among young viewers who followed beauty trends. Her brand expanded across multiple platforms, where her videos, sounds, and appearances were shared, reshared, and stitched by others in the beauty and influencer space. Although her public image was largely shaped by her creative output, followers gradually learned limited aspects of her personal life through her online presence. Viewers occasionally saw glimpses of her daily routines, workspace, and home environment, which helped reinforce her identity as a content creator working within the beauty field.
Also, today I woke up and decided to go get me a shot from the bar, and I'm gonna go to the spa later in like an hour, less than an hour actually. But I'm toasting to positivity today and having a successful life, period. Cause so, to the head.
To the head.
There it is. She served my facial and she left some like oil or lip plumper on my lips. It smells so good and I could like taste like the scent from my lip. But she overly served eyelids for this place. But I'm gonna call y'all back.
Over time, audiences became aware that she was in a long-term relationship with 25-year-old Shanoid White Jr., who appeared occasionally in some of her videos or live stream moments. While their relationship was not the primary focus of her content, his recurring presence made the public aware of their connection and the length of time they had been together. Understanding who Maurice was as a creator, a stylist, and a developing online personality provides essential context for the broader story, as her public life formed the foundation of how many viewers knew her before the events that would later bring widespread attention to her name. Shanoid White Jr. is a 25-year-old Florida resident who became the central figure in the investigation surrounding the death of Maurice Harrison due to his direct involvement in the events that occurred inside his vehicle on November 14, 2025. Prior to the incident, White Jr. was known within his local community and among some online circles for his interest in music and social media activity. Although his online presence was significantly smaller than Harrison's, he maintained various profiles where he posted personal content, snippets of music-related material, and periodic updates about his daily life.
Yes, sir. I see Big Snake going on, you feel me? Check him out. Yes, sir. Huge boy. Come on, let's go get the release out, boys. Look at him. Clean. Our boy got the orange dot, orange eyes to match it. He ready. Look, damn.
Yeah, we'll
ready to
get
go.
up out of there.
These platforms showed a mixture of casual posts, lifestyle images, and occasional interactions with followers, none of which suggested a large public audience, but demonstrated the type of self-presentation common among aspiring creators. Maurice Harrison and Shanoid White Jr. were in a long-term relationship that lasted several years before the incident that ended in Maurice's death. Their relationship was partially visible to the public because White Jr. appeared in Maurice's videos, live streams, and social media posts, providing followers with glimpses into their dynamic. These appearances later became points of reference for viewers, trying to understand the nature of their relationship. Their relationship began before Maurice became a recognized figure on TikTok. As her online presence grew through wig tutorials, styling videos, and short-form content, White Jr. was consistently present in her personal life, appearing in casual recordings and candid posts that captured moments of their daily interactions. These shared moments reflected both ordinary partnership behaviors and occasional disagreements, although the full context of private interactions was not publicly documented. Followers later analyzed these appearances for signs of tension or conflict, creating a public perception of the relationship that mixed supportive and challenging moments. Throughout their years together, the couple maintained a lifestyle intertwined with social media influence. Maurice's content focused on beauty, wigs, and self-presentation, while White Jr. remained closely associated with her online persona. Because of this exposure, Interactions that may have been minor or private became publicly visible. In some live streams, brief arguments were observed, sparking speculation among viewers about possible underlying issues, though there was no verified documentation of prior incidents reported to law enforcement before the shooting. Observers noted that the couple's long-term familiarity, combined with public visibility, provided a backdrop where tension could occasionally surface in short clips. These moments contributed to public discussions, but did not fully reveal the private dynamics of the relationship. The repeated viewing of past content after the fatal incident prompted audiences to consider whether prior disagreements were early indications of deeper issues or merely isolated arguments. Yet the true nature of their interactions remained known only to those directly involved. By the time of the final confrontation, the couple had spent several years together, establishing a pattern of behavior and interactions that reflected both routine companionship and occasional friction. Their publicly visible timeline, constructed from shared videos, live streams, and social media posts, forms the foundation for understanding the progression of their relationship. This analysis provides context for the events that followed, illustrating how a long-term partnership, partially observed by a digital audience, can culminate in a sudden and fatal escalation. On November 14, 2025, Maurice Harrison and her long-term boyfriend, Shanoid White Jr., were together in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, inside White's vehicle. According to law enforcement reports, the two entered the vehicle and began a verbal disagreement. The argument reportedly escalated in intensity while they were seated in the confined space, transitioning from words to physical interaction. Law enforcement investigators later confirmed that the escalation led to a struggle inside the car, although the exact details of the physical altercation remain part of the ongoing investigation. During the confrontation, Shanoid White Jr. discharged a firearm multiple times, striking Maurice Harrison while she remained in the passenger seat. 2 9mm shell casings and the firearm were recovered at the scene, and the position of the evidence indicated that the shots were fired from inside the vehicle. No other individuals were present in the car at the time, and no evidence suggested that anyone else participated in the incident. Investigators began documenting the scene, taking photographs, and collecting physical evidence to reconstruct the sequence of events that led to the shooting. After the fatal shooting inside the vehicle, Shanoid White Jr. placed a 911 call from the scene, which became one of the earliest pieces of evidence in the investigation. In the call, White Jr. spoke in an elevated tone, stating that someone had been shot and that he needed immediate assistance. He provided the dispatcher with the exact location of the vehicle and confirmed the presence of the injured individual, though he did not offer a detailed account of how the shooting occurred. The dispatcher asked clarifying questions regarding the condition of the victim, the number of people involved, and the presence of a weapon, and White Jr. responded with brief and fragmented statements, emphasizing urgency and distress. The 911 call was critical in determining the timeline of the incident. Law enforcement was able to confirm that the call occurred shortly after the shooting and prior to their arrival at the scene, establishing a narrow window in which the fatal events transpired. Deputies who responded to the call found Maurice Harrison seated in the passenger side of the vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. Emergency medical personnel were immediately summoned, and Harrison was transported to a nearby hospital, where she was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The rapid arrival of first responders and the precise location provided in the 911 call allowed law enforcement to secure the scene before evidence could be disturbed. Investigators canvassed nearby areas for potential witnesses and reviewed surveillance footage from surrounding properties to confirm the timeline of the confrontation. Digital evidence, including social media posts, interactions, and live streams, was analyzed to provide context about the relationship dynamics between Maurice Harrison and Shanoid White Jr. Law enforcement focused on White Jr.'s 911 call, studying the timing, statements, and behavior reflected in his report. Shanoid White Jr., present at the scene, was interviewed extensively. His account of the argument and subsequent actions was cross-checked with the physical and forensic evidence collected. This combined approach enabled detectives to determine that the confrontation escalated rapidly from a verbal dispute into a fatal shooting. Based on the evidence, White Jr. was arrested and charged with first-degree murder with a firearm. The investigation also continued to identify potential additional witnesses, review prior interactions between the couple, and gather any other information that could clarify the events leading to Harrison's death, ensuring a complete and accurate reconstruction of the incident for the prosecution. After Shanoid White Jr.'s arrest, the legal process formally began with the filing of charges for first-degree murder with a firearm, a classification that carries the possibility of life imprisonment or the maximum penalties under Florida law. Upon being taken into custody, White underwent booking procedures, including documentation of personal information, photographs, and fingerprints, establishing his formal record with law enforcement. Prosecutors immediately began reviewing all collected evidence, focusing on the physical items recovered from the scene, including the firearm and shell casings, as well as the 911 call recording and any statements provided by the suspect. The prosecution also considered digital evidence, including social media posts and videos, to establish the timeline of events and corroborate witness observations. During the initial court appearance, White was informed of the charges and entered a plea, which formally set the stage for pretrial proceedings. Pretrial motions will determine the admissibility of key evidence, including forensic reports and any potential statements made during interrogation. Both the prosecution and defense have the opportunity to present arguments regarding intent, premeditation, and any relevant background factors that may influence the trial. Hearings will be scheduled to address procedural matters, potential plea negotiations, and the ultimate trial date. The outcome of these legal processes will depend entirely on how the evidence is interpreted by the court, how the defense challenges or supports the presented material, and the judicial determination of accountability for the death of Maurice Harrison. After Maurice Gerlalala Harrison's death, the public response was swift and intense, with followers, fans, and online communities expressing shock, grief, and disbelief across social media platforms. Users shared tributes, memorial posts, and personal reflections on her life, highlighting her contributions as a content creator and her influence in the beauty and wig community. Many fans revisited videos and live streams of Maurice and her boyfriend, Shanoid White Jr., analyzing interactions that had previously seemed minor but now appeared as potential signs of underlying tension. Domestic violence organizations and advocates entered the conversation, using the case to emphasize the hidden dangers that can exist in long-term relationships and the importance of recognizing early indicators of abuse. Commentators pointed to the unique challenges faced by marginalized communities, noting the vulnerabilities of Black trans women and the broader risks they face in intimate relationships. Online discussions also explored the impact of social media on personal relationships, with observers questioning how public personas can mask private struggles. The incident sparked debates about responsibility, both among audiences who consume online content and platforms that enable creators' visibility, regarding identifying and responding to signs of conflict. Fans, fellow creators, and advocacy groups collectively called for increased awareness, support systems, and preventive measures to help individuals in similar situations. The case prompted national dialogue on the intersection of social media visibility, relationship dynamics, and domestic violence, highlighting how quickly personal tragedies can become public discourse and advocacy catalysts. The story of Maurice Gerlalala Harrison concludes by examining broader questions about relationship dynamics, social awareness, and prevention. Long-term partnerships can appear stable externally while hiding conflict, raising the question of how tension and control evolve privately without intervention. Observers of the couple's social media presence often saw only fragments of interactions, highlighting how online personas can obscure the true nature of a relationship. This case also emphasizes the unpredictable escalation of disputes, illustrating that arguments can turn lethal within moments, even in relationships that seem long established. It prompts reflection on the responsibilities of friends, family, or peers when warning signs emerge and whether interventions could prevent tragic outcomes. Additionally, it encourages consideration of social and community systems, including how individuals or authorities might identify high-risk patterns before violence occurs. The focus is not on speculation about motives already covered, but on understanding systemic and behavioral factors that contribute to intimate partner incidents. Finally, the case raises questions about public perception versus reality. How much can followers, acquaintances, or casual observers truly understand about private struggles behind the curated content seen online? It underscores that lethal outcomes are often the result of cumulative risk factors rather than isolated incidents, emphasizing the importance of early recognition and proactive measures to prevent escalation. Viewers are left to reflect on these points and consider how awareness, observation, and timely action could make a difference in similar situations. And that concludes today's case. But remember, this is just one of countless hidden stories waiting to be brought to light. Here at Crimelens Uncovered, we're committed to digging beneath the surface, giving a voice to those who can no longer speak, and making sure their stories are never lost to time. If today's investigation gave you new perspective, just wait. There are more cases coming that will shock, disturb, and challenge the way you see the world. So don't forget to subscribe, tap the like button, and turn on notifications, so you're always first to know when a new story drops. We release fresh investigations regularly, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Before you go, share your thoughts in the comments. Which part of this case resonated with you most? Your voice helps keep these stories alive. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe, and remember, the search for justice always begins with the truth. Crimelens Uncovered, where every case finds its voice.